We all remember recess growing up in school. Recess was a time of day where you could have all the conversations that you could not have while in class. Recess is where you had the real conversations. And real conversations we're going to have. In each episode of the Recess Podcast, I'm going to have real conversations explaining students and school. I'm David McGuire, and I'll be your host. It's recess time, y'all. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 45 of the Recess Podcast. I'm excited about this episode. It's going to be another dope episode and conversation. And listen, the title says it all. It's 100 black men to 100 black boys. And we're going to have a real conversation. Two brothers in the work, doing the work, just talking about that mentorship. So as always, pop in the comments, give me a check-in. Let us know how you feeling, scale 1 to 2. And if you're a first-time listener, the Recess Podcast is real education conversations explaining students in school. So we're going to have another real episode this evening, and I'm joined by the executive director of the 100 Black Men of Indianapolis, Mr. William Durham. So I'm going to bring him in. Brother Durham, how you doing?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I can't complain. I'm glad you could join me here. I know it's only been a month since you've been on the job, and we're gonna dive into that. But
yes,
before we do that, just let the folks know who you are, what you're about and things like that.
Absolutely. William Durham, I'm a native of Indianapolis, Indiana, graduate of Pike High School. So shout out, to all the Red Devils here in Indianapolis. After graduating high school, I did my undergraduate at Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia, received my undergraduate degree in business administration, and then spent some time after graduating. I did spend some time in the banking and finance industry for about nine and a half years, and then eventually just transitioned into education. So for the past 15, 16 years, man, I've been in education in various roles. Started off as a Title I math instructor at Tinley. And so just kind of moved through the education realm. And prior to coming on here at the 100 Black Men of Indianapolis, I was with the Excel Center, was there for 7 years, and spent the last 4 years of my time there as a school director there at the Excel Center Meadows. And so, man, this transition has been great, and just another way to positively impact youth in our city and in our community. Man, I'm married. Have two beautiful children, a daughter who is also married and have a grandson. And then my youngest son is a sophomore at Kentucky State University. And so both my daughter and my wife are also educators. And so, man, so it just kind of runs in the family.
Man, I love it. And I love the HBCU connection. I went to Central State. Yep. So
there we go.
Yeah.
You love, man.
I'll always listen.
Hey, and I didn't mention this. My daughter went to Tuskegee. So
love it. So, you talked about, the transition, from from being in the school,
mm-hmm.
being at the Excel Center, and now with the 100 Black Men. What was it about that role that was appealing to you?
Yeah, man, that's a great question. And then when I was thinking about making this transition and I was speaking to a couple of people about it, that question came up. It's like, why would you leave education to move into this particular role, man? And my answer, quite honestly, was simple, because my passion, and it has always been this, even when I was doing work in the community with the Center for Leadership Development and other things. My passion, man, has always been, how can I connect? What is the best way for me to connect to young people, particularly the young boys? That's where my passion is, man. And so moving into this role, it was almost like it was made for me. Truth be told, man, I've done some volunteer work with the 100 Black Men in their battalion military program. I've done volunteer work for over 10 years with the organization. And so, coming in, man, and really taking on this role as executive director and being able to really dig into the programming, dig into how we can positively impact the students that we serve, man, it was almost like a dream come true. For me to come here, man, because I love the organization. I love what it stands for. And it gives me the opportunity really to make greater impact. And for me, that's what it's all about.
Man, that's amazing. And I know, like you said, even though you're not necessarily in the school, there's still that connection, right? With the ultimate goal, which is impacting youth, and doing the work, especially when it comes to young black boys and young black men. So
Yeah.
we what for the folks that don't know, maybe just
Mhm.
know it by name, right?
Okay.
What's the goals of the organization? What's the goals of the 100 Black Men of Indianapolis for those that don't know, or those that think they know and may not be for sure?
Right, right. That's a great question, man. So the goal of the 100 Black Men of Indianapolis, so our mission really is men giving real time to positively impact the development and outcomes of youth in our community. So that's really what is centered around, man, mentorship. African American and minority males coming in and mentoring through the 6 programs that we provide. And the 6 programs really fall under 4 pillars. And those pillars are education, health and wellness, mentoring, and economic empowerment are the 4 pillars that all of our programs fall up under. And so it's just men coming together, getting involved in the programs and being mentors to the students that we serve. And the ultimate goal, as it states in our mission, is to positively impact the development and outcomes of the youth that we serve, man. So, we want our youth to be successful in whatever it is that they decide to do. And one of the best ways to do that is to put successful African American and minority males in front of them. So our tagline is what they see is what they'll be. And that's really a true statement, man. They see the men coming in as mentors, and then they can aspire to be that as well.
So when you think about that mentorship, right? What they see is what they become. What specific programs, right? Do the 100 Black Men of Indianapolis do to make sure that mission lives out and to positively impact, the youth?
Yeah. So we have 6 programs. One of the programs is really on the collegiate level. So 5 of the programs that are between kindergarten through high school, we have the Summer Academy, which services students from kindergarten through 8th grade. It's a summer program that the students go through. We also have a robotics program that's for 4th through 8th graders. Then there's a team mentoring, and that program is for 5th through 8th grade boys, where they are actually assigned a mentor to work with them in the team mentoring program. We also have a financial literacy program for male and female students between the 9th and the 12th grades. Then our battalion military program, which is probably the program that most individuals know about, is for young men in 11th and 12th grades. It's kind of a rites of passage program. And then we also have what's called the Collegiate 100, which is a program for male and female students once they have transitioned into post-secondary education, where they are able to get involved in the community there and really work and become mentors as well on their college campuses and in the communities that the college campuses are in. So those are the 6 programs that the 100 Black Men of Indianapolis provides to youth here in the city of Indianapolis.
And you mentioned the battalion, which again, that's the program that most know about. So you talked about that rite of passage, right? And we're here
Yeah.
to talk about 100 black men to 100 black boys. When think about the title of the show tonight, but also the battalion, with everything that's going on and that has happened. I know recently the murder rate has been high in the city. When you think about that idea of basically, getting 100 black men in front of 100 black boys. How do you see the battalion? Like, we talk about that rite of passage. Describe that rite of passage for folks that may not understand how important that time in a young boy's life is that 11th and 12th grade year.
And so that program, it's a 16-week program. So for 16 weeks, these young men are learning things about academic achievement, communication, personal skills, interpersonal skills. There's even a career day that we do as well in the battalion military. We have a law day where they learn about the law and their rights as a young male in our city. And there's ethnic pride that's in there as well. And then there are also leadership skills that we discuss in that program as well. But when we're talking about, the rites of passage, so what that looks like is, for some of these young men, their biological fathers are in their lives, which is great. However, there are some of the young men that are in that program, and their biological fathers are not in their lives. And so the mentors and the volunteers that help in that program kind of become kind of the surrogate dads, for those young men in those programs. And we have really candid conversations about what it means to be an African-American male, and in particular, a young African-American male in this climate right now that we have here in the city, the state, and in the United States. What does it really mean, and how do we maneuver? How do we move and groove in this climate? And so putting those positive role models in front of them and having, honestly, man, really, really candid conversations. We don't really sugarcoat. We don't have time to sugarcoat stuff. We talk real to the young men, and some of the conversations can get real heavy, but they're needed.
Yeah,
they're needed conversations, and because a lot of these young men have not had these types of conversations, and so it's also an avenue for the fathers that are there to become even more comfortable speaking to their young boys about certain conversations that need to be had, and so it's also a way for the fathers to get together and learn from each other, glean from each other, things of that nature. But it's an awesome program, man. And again, this is for 11th and 12th graders. And so our goal is that, once they go through this Battalion Militaire program, that they just move on to be productive citizens, whether they're moving into post-secondary education, whether they're moving into the workforce, or whether they're moving into the military, whatever that next pathway is for their lives, that they are productive and that they've learned, how to basically move and groove in that space during that time.
Yeah, you talked about the space for the fathers, and I want to kind of go there a little bit, because that's probably a piece that I didn't know, and maybe a lot of other people didn't know either. That so the fathers, those young men who like I said, biological father or the father figure is in their life or in the home, there's a space for them to connect or be a part of that 16-week journey along with the son?
Absolutely. Not every session, the parents are not there, but there are some sessions where the parents are there. There are some responsibilities that the fathers and the mothers have. And then there's also a component of that program that we call Guys Night Out, where it's just the young men and the fathers, and we all come together. We have conversation, we fellowship over food and things of that nature. And so, that's huge, man. That's huge. And so it's really a time for more bonding to take place with the young men and their fathers, or the young men and their father figures or role models, whatever the case may be. And then during the actual ceremony, during the program, the actual ceremony, the culminating program is the Battalion Militaire Scholarship Dinner. And so during this dinner, we actually go through a rites of passage with the young men, but I can't give that information away.
You gotta go through it. No, listen, that's got some fraternity vibes to it.
Yeah.
Like you said, I love that, because I think I even might have had the misconception. I didn't realize how involved, like you said, the mothers, the father, the parents were into that journey with the young man. Just how important that is, right? Where it's not a program where it's just like, all right, parent, give me your child and I got them for 16 weeks. It's like, we need you to be a part of this. There's some responsibilities that you have to make sure not only that your child goes through it, your young man goes through it, not only that they get something out of it as well, but also that you understand the importance of it, and that you own it, that they see you in that space. And I think those candid conversations are needed, because oftentimes we send our Black boys into the world without having the real conversation with them, because we're afraid, because we don't want to scare them, that we don't tell them the truth. And we actually do more harm because we send them into the world unprepared.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's very true.
and equipped to handle when these real life situations come up. So I know you guys just completed the summer camp, 100
Yep.
Black Men Summer Camp, which if folks don't know, it is an amazing summer camp. So much so that the city decided they wanted to do a learning lab, even though the 100 Black Men have been doing it for years, and
Right.
instead of just putting more resources there. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We participated in it; it's been great, but that camp has been going on for a while, and I know teacher friends who look forward to working that, absent of the money they make, but more about just the experience and the fun and
Yeah.
keeping their toolkit sharp. I
Yeah.
know friends that have parents at the school age that rush to get their kids signed up to make sure they make it. So this was your first year as ED experiencing the summer camp. Just talk to us, and you experienced the summer camp, right? The summer after the COVID school year, basically, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
What
sir.
was that like, and how did you see the summer camp helping to support, right, that's COVID loss?
Yeah, and so you know, man, it's you mentioned something. You talked about, parents and families rushing to get their kids signed up, and that's a very true statement because we're limited on space, man. So if they don't get them signed up, it's unfortunately it's a done deal because
Yeah.
we can only service so many.
Mm-hmm.
And actually this year we did cut it back a little bit because of COVID. So we serviced approximately 135 students, man,
Mm-hmm.
between kindergarten and eighth grade. And so, we name it a summer academy.
Mm-hmm.
And so that word academy carries a different connotation than camp, because typically when you think of camp, you think of, we grilling hot dogs, we jumping rope, we playing
Yeah.
basketball, we rowing in the river and going fishing and whatnot. And all of that is great. And there is a component
Mm-hmm.
that we do for that. But it is specifically called a summer academy because our focus is on academics.
Mm.
It's on academics. So the first half of the day, those students are engaged academically, which is why we have certified and licensed instructors at the summer academy teaching those classes and teaching those grade levels, because we want to make sure that those students retain what they've learned during the school year. And so when they enter that following school year, they haven't lost anything.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't lost anything. So it really is a way to make sure that students remain sharp, make sure that students retain the information that they've learned. And then also there's some remediation in there as well, for those students who may have been struggling in math for whatever reason.
Yeah.
There's some remediation that takes place there. And I understand this concept of COVID learning loss. But for some of our students, it wasn't a loss simply because they never learned it.
Dang.
So
Come on. Can't lose something you never had.
You can't lose something you never had, man. And so through this summer academy was also an opportunity for students to gain that knowledge that they never got. Oh, and probably because I don't want to talk negatively about any school district, because we can say that for another for another talk, man. But probably because due to COVID and how things just kind of happened,
yeah,
instructors weren't able to get to certain topics.
Yeah,
they just weren't able to, man. Just because of how everything played out. And then you got students online virtually. Are they really paying attention on it? It was just so much, man. You know this. You work in education, so you know how that rolls, man. And so for some of the students, it really wasn't COVID learning loss because they never learned it.
Mm-hmm.
They never learned it. So it was a way for them to actually learn those skills, and then also retain the skills that they did learn, so that they're prepared for the next school year. But it's a great program, man. And like I said, the first half of the day, strictly academics.
Mm-hmm.
Strictly academics the first half of the day. And then the second half of the day, that's when we get into the activities.
Yeah.
The fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Get into the activities. And that is on purpose.
Yeah.
Because if we did all the fun stuff in the morning and then had lunch and then try to do academics in the afternoon,
you lose them.
You lose them.
Mm-hmm.
You lose them. You lose them.
The one thing I've always appreciated about the Summer Academy, 100 Black Men, is what it can also do is, and it's a small thing, and I don't even know if it was intentional, but this is what happens when you get Black students who go into this summer academy, sometimes this is their first experience with a Black teacher.
Absolutely, sir.
So here they are. They've gone an entire school year with a white teacher, good experience or bad experience. But then they go to this summer academy in the summer, and then in front of them, teaching them math, teaching them reading, teaching them ELA, there's a Black teacher. There's a Black male, there's a Black woman teaching them. And for them, they don't get that option. The only way that they'll ever see a Black teacher or be able to say, I experienced teaching from a Black teacher is that summer academy. I just always appreciated that because there's just power in that.
There is, man.
There is. And I think that academy also shows that there are quality Black teachers in the city of Indianapolis. I know everyone's
absolutely.
There's like, where do I find a Black teacher? Well, if you really want to find one, go check out the 100 Black Men Summer Academy. Right?
You're right, sir. You're right. And man, you bring up a really good point. Our tagline being what they see is what they'll be. Putting those images in front of our young people, man. And it is so powerful to have that experience of a Black teacher, male or female, because we having real conversations here, man. And so the truth of the matter is there are some connections that just don't take place.
Come on.
With a white teacher and a Black student. They just don't take place. There are some connections that can only happen with a Black teacher and a Black student. That's just how it is.
It is. And I just always appreciated that. And then on top of, like you said, the mix of the academics and the enrichment, the mix of ensuring that students have a place to go safe in the summer, that parents can have a reasonable place to send their kids for X amount of weeks that's safe, that they learn, that they can be culturally affirmed, right? All those things, it's important. And I appreciate and always have been an advocate of, prior to this, I would encourage parents to get signed up early. So those parents
early,
now, right?
Early,
you better mark the date around what, April-ish, May-ish. Looking on the website, which you can see there at the bottom. The www.100blackmenindy.org, and start being on the lookout. But honestly, Facebook is your best. You'll start seeing when parents, they'll start asking, anybody heard when the sign up is for the summer academy, right? And you get on it.
And also, man, so listen, so there are programs out here, and you're paying, anywhere from $100 to $300 a week. For your child to be in some type of summer program. Summer Academy is one of the less expensive options, but the return on your investment is going to be phenomenal, man. Because what we do in that 6 weeks, you're paying. I don't want to put the dollar amount out there, but trust me, it is far less.
And trust me, I can tell you, it is far less. So those parents that are thinking like, I'm going to sign my kid up for this camp that pays $100, $150 a week.
Summer Academy, you have one fee. I'll throw that out there. It is one fee. It's one fee. You pay one fee, and you cover the 6 weeks, and it's not $300, $400, $500. It is not.
And also, I've seen there hasn't been any summer academy scandals or anything. You rarely see bad reviews. Actually, the views I see is I see parents talking about after the first day how exhausted their kid is because of how much fun they have. Right?
Listen, man, we call it the SA effect, the summer academy effect.
The summer academy effect.
They pick their students up, and by the time that student gets out of the parking lot, they are knocked out in the back seat. Because we've challenged them mentally, academically. We've challenged them, physically as well, because there are some exercises that take place every morning. Every morning during the morning assembly, we're getting the blood flowing, man. We're getting them ready.
I love it.
So it's an awesome program, man. Absolutely. Awesome program.
Look, I encourage parents, get your kids signed up early. Educators, if you want to keep your skills sharp, get around other like-minded educators, it's also a great place for you to work as well. But you got to do it early, because I know some friends that wanted to work and missed out on that too. So whether you're a parent or a teacher, you better get on early, right?
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's
So
right.
Mr. Durham, we're going to pivot a little bit.
Yes,
Again,
sir,
because
Mr.
the title of
McGuire.
this show, again, those that are listening, I see the folks in the comments. I appreciate you for hopping in with us. You know, that's jumping on board. We definitely appreciate all of you. The title of the show is 100 Black Men to 100 Black Boys.
Mm-hmm.
So as the ED, when you think about the work of the 100, right? How do you see the 100 Black Men of Indianapolis moving forward the next few years, right? What are your goals as the ED? You saying like, these are things I want to see more. I want us to do more. These are the spaces that I want us to get in more. What are those things?
Yeah. So what my goal for the organization, one of my goals is that when you think of mentoring and when you think of youth development, the first thought that comes to your mind is the 100 Black Men of Indianapolis. Simply because the robust programs that we provide to students really covers, honestly, it really covers students from kindergarten through college. And so I don't know of any other mentoring or youth serving programs that really cover that span. So if we can get a student in kindergarten, first grade, second grade, we can really be with that student all the way through elementary, middle school, high school, and college. And so it really is a way for us to continue to wrap our arms around that student and provide guidance and mentorship to that student through college. And so my goal is to make sure that when someone says, "Hey, you know, what's a good mentoring program?" Boom, 100 Black Men of Indianapolis. What's a good leadership program? 100 Black Men of Indianapolis. What's a good educational program? 100 Black Men of Indianapolis. You know, my son or my daughter is interested in robotics or programming. Boom, we have a program for that. And so another goal that I have for the organization is that, you know, we also get involved in this workforce development area as well, and making sure that for those students who feel that college may not be the best option for them for whatever reason, that we provide those students as well with a direct pathway through workforce development. And so there's some things in the pipeline that we're working on in relationship to that. But my vision for the organization, man, is to expand our footprint in the city of Indianapolis, get in front of more media sources as well, get the story out about the 100 Black Men of Indianapolis and the impact that we've had for over 35 years here in the city of Indianapolis. And I honestly believe, man, this with my whole heart. And that is, if you want to change the narrative, change the narrator. For so long, other people have been telling our story.
Yeah.
But if we want to change the narrative, we have to change the narrator and become the narrators of our own story. And so that's a goal that I have here at the 100 Black Men of Indianapolis. And that is to tell the story, man, of the work that we've done, the impact that we've had, and the outcomes that we have produced with the students that have been through our programs.
Yeah, I've met a few young men along the way that participate in a variety of programs. Obviously, the most popular one is the Botellion, right? I've had some friends of mine who's worked and served as mentors, you know, with the Botellion, and it's always, you know, just personally, I've always from afar have observed and admire the work, and it's every year I've said to myself, this is the year I'm gonna get involved. I'm gonna get involved this year. I'm gonna get involved this year, right? And I've always made excuses, right? I was like, well,
Right.
first excuse was, you know, I'm mentoring boys. I work in a school. I'm a black
Yeah.
male teacher, or then a black male leader, and I'm doing the work. And it's just like, yeah, you know, that is a piece of it. But I was like, it's no different. There's probably black men in the 100 Black Men that do the same thing, but also find that same time. And for me, as I've gotten older, you know, and more seasoned, I guess, in my leadership, for me, I also see, and I want you to touch on this a little bit, while the programs that you do, obviously service the boys and the young men and young girls that go for the program. It also is a space and a brotherhood for Black men.
Absolutely, sir.
Especially when you talk about younger Black men who are just coming into the workforce or just coming into a leadership role or things like that. There's a legacy of more senior Black men who've been in the pillars of the community,
yes,
pillars of the work, that somebody like me who's like there's a mentorship there as well. So can you talk about just that work as well for Black men, adults who are like, I need a space where I can connect with other like-minded brothers and do this work?
Man, that is a very valid point that you have brought up, and that is so. The program, the organization, there's a membership of men here in the city of Indianapolis, very well-read, well-traveled, well-spoken men here in the city of Indianapolis that are a part of this organization. And it is a space and an opportunity for the younger brothers to come in and learn, glean from the knowledge of the elder, so to speak, here in the organization. And honestly, man, another component of this is because they are a little bit more seasoned. We're going to need somebody to come in.
Yes.
And fill that role, man. Fill those roles, man. And so if we can get more younger men involved, that would be amazing, man. We actually have a meeting coming up August 16th.
Look, hold on. Let me get my phone out. Hold on, real quick.
Yes,
August 16th. That's a Monday.
That is a Monday. August 16th, man.
While we're on that, right?
Yes.
Somebody like me who's not a member, and I'm gonna say not a member yet because this is about to be my goal.
Yes, sir.
Because is the meeting open to non-members, or like how does that work? Is it
It is. It's anyone who is interested in just basically mentoring.
Okay.
Anyone who's interested in mentoring and being able to impact the youth that we serve in the city of Indianapolis. As long as you are an African-American male or a minority male, yes, you can come to the meeting. You do not have to be a member of the organization, because your membership just means you paid your dues. That's all that means. You've made your financial obligation to the organization. You paid your dues. Kind of like, well, I won't go down that road, but
you said it. That fraternity, you can do it. Right. You can do it. That's exactly what it is. But I think, again, the essence of it, right? That sense of brotherhood that you get from the fraternity, right? It's kind of in that same line, and you mentioned it. And this has been the push that I've got. Men have told me, David, you got to get involved, because there's got to be the next generation, right? There's got to be the succession plan. Successful organizations are strong because the pipeline is there, and there's a clear line that you could say, like, this is the next group, right? But as I mentioned that, we learn from the more seasoned men, the more seasoned we learn from us, we can all lord together. But what it does is it shows a united front. It shows the city and those forces that are against these Black boys that this is going to be long standing. We got a long road that's coming.
Absolutely. And it also shows that as brothers, as men, as African-American men, we can come together without any beef.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying, man? All the stuff that's happening in our community, man. I had a conversation with one of the members, and I was asking him, what do you feel one of the strengths is of our organization? What is the strength that we have? And he said something that just kind of made me sit back, and I was like, wow, I never thought of it that way. And what he said was, he was like, the 100 Black Men of Indianapolis is a deterrent. And I said, Phil, kind of dig a little deeper for me. What do you mean by that? He said, it is a way to protect our young boys from getting involved in activities that can lead them down a road and down a path that they don't want to go down. And so that is very true, man. And the younger the mentors are that come into the organization, the closer they are to relating to the young men that we serve. So, I'm 52, man. I'll be 53 in January. And so while I have a son who's 19, actually he'll be 20 next month. But there's still this generation gap. Me talking to a 16, 17-year-old is different from a 25-year-old, 25-year-old man talking to a 16, 17-year-old. And so in order to make sure that there is not this huge generation gap as well, we need to get more younger brothers involved, man. And again, if there are young brothers out there that are committed and have a passion for mentoring and helping our young boys, man, the 100 Black Men of Indianapolis is the organization that you really do need to be a part of. And here's the thing. It's really not about paying your dues for me. It's not. It's not. That's great. If you pay your dues, wonderful. That is great because that helps us with the operations of the organization and things that we have to do. So that is helpful. However, the greatest impact that you can have is becoming a mentor and being in front of that young 13, 14-year-old boy and actually having candid conversations with that 13, 14-year-old boy about, even your own life. There are times where we're transparent with the participants in the program and saying, hey, you know what? When I was 17, I did X, Y, Z. And I can see that you are about to go down this road, X, Y, Z. So let me help you. Let me help you and kind of share with you, my going down this road and what it did for me. And again, it goes back to what that one member said that I was having the conversation with. It's a deterrent. So let me deter you. Let me put you on a different pathway, because the road you're going down right now, I know where it's going to lead because I've been down that road. So it's really a way, man, to really get in front of these young boys and really guide them and be a listening ear as well. I've learned that through my participation in youth development programs, and particularly with the 100 Black Men of Indianapolis, a lot of our young boys need someone to just listen to them. They just need a listening ear, man. And so that's huge.
That's it. That is huge. So before I let you go, real quick, for folks, like you said, a couple of things that want to, we got the website there at the bottom, www.100blackmenindy.org. For those that are interested, right? You mentioned the meeting, August 16th.
August 16th.
What time does the meeting start?
So that meeting starts at 6:00.
There you go. Okay.
August 16th. It would be held at the Boys and Girls Club, Big Brothers Big Sisters on Meridian.
Okay, there we
is
go.
Where the meeting will be held. So that information will be on the website. I will also put that information on all of my social media outlets, Facebook, LinkedIn, things of that nature. And if someone wants additional information or just wants to get in contact with me, my number is 317-995-4300. 317-995-4300. Call or text me if you need any additional information, or if you're just interested in getting involved.
Absolutely.
We would love to have you, man. So 100 Black men to 100 Black boys, man. You know how powerful that can be, man.
Listen, so
it's just
that's my closing, and that's what I was going to tell the folks. Look, this is the goal, and this is why, brother, I brought you on, and here's why. This is what I want. What we need is 100 Black men to 100 Black boys, but it's not just that one. What we need that is in every school where there's 100 Black boys, we need 100 Black men.
Yes, sir.
Right? And if we can do that, when we think about the things that's happening in our city, the roles that these Black boys can go down, if we can do that in these schools, right, in the Tinleys, in the IPSs, in the Waynes, in the Warren, in the Lawrences, in the North Centrals, and so on and so forth, if we can do that, right, we can make it happen. So my call is to school leaders first. You got 100 Black boys in your building, you need to find 100 Black men to support those Black boys. You can do that by reaching out to organizations like the 100 Black Men, to the Black men that are listening. If you want to take up that call, like you said, we got option A, join 100 Black Men, pay the dues, or B, join 100 Black Men and be a mentor. But if we can do that 100 Black men to 100 Black boys, that's my ask. That's going to be my goal this year. And in my school, we have a program called Genius and the Gentleman. It's our boys program. We got 100 plus boys in my building. So my goal now is to get 100 Black men over the course of the year to touch those boys. And so I'm going to be working with you. I'm going to be at the August 16th meeting.
I'm going to hold you to that, man. I'm going to hold you to it.
Please do.
And check this out, too, man. Check this out. And I know we got to go, but reach out to your fraternity brothers, too, man. I'm going to reach out to my fraternity brothers as well. And I spoke to a gentleman who's a member of Omega Psi Phi. I said, hey, man, reach out to your fraternity brothers. So here's the deal, man. I would love for us to unify our colors.
Come on.
Let's unify our colors and make an impact, man. Let's do it.
I love it. Impact. When I think about back to school starting, when I think about different things that are happening, right? We need to show up as a unified front.
Yeah.
For our boys, for our girls, for our community, for our city. Listen, I learned early on when the Black community was thriving, you had Black men that were the pillars and the stalwarts, right? We got to get back to that. And now we can't keep making the excuses because the historical reasons, that ripped Black men from homes is there. But it's time for us to unite. It's enough of us to unite and support one another. So look, I appreciate, brother, you being on. I appreciate the folks that have been rocking with us. I listen, share this. I'm going to post this link. We're going to get more. But again, that's August 16th. I'm going to be there.
August 16th.
I'm going to come to the first meeting on my own because I got to get there myself. And then the second meeting, I'm going to bring somebody with me.
Yes, sir. That's how we do. That's how we do.
But Brother Durham, I appreciate those that have been listening. This has been the Recess Podcast. As I always say, create the platform, control the conversation, change the culture. I'll see you guys next week, Thursday, same time, 7 p.m. Take care.